I guess we just have to get started with the questions.
We can, yeah. If you're ready, we
Yay!
can go anytime. I'm in no rush.
Awesome. Okay, I would just like to know first, when did you start your music journey with Mystery Signals and other bands before that?
My parents were always really, really into music. So in my home, I was always encouraged to listen to music, to practice music. So I was always in a very welcoming space for the arts, which was a lovely thing. My parents listened to a lot of rock and roll music growing up and a lot of sort of early punk rock and hardcore stuff. And so I was exposed to a wide variety of music. My dad also grew up like out in the country near Elk Point, Alberta. So he was really had a lot of roots also from his family in Merle Haggard, Johnny Cash, sort of that outlaw
Wow.
country kind of stuff. So I was exposed to a wide range of music early on, which was very, I think, beneficial to my development as a musician. Early on, I got a guitar after seeing the movie Crossroads with Ralph Macchio.
Wow.
That is
Yeah.
in the mid 1980s. So I started playing guitar in about 87. But then I was just like learning Smoke on the Water riffs and simple Black Sabbath riffs and stuff like that as a young guy. I first started playing in bands once I moved out to Sherwood Park. I started playing in what eventually became pretty much a death metal band called Pugnacious. And
Mhm.
in that band, I played bass and I sang. And then from there, I joined Compromise, where I first played bass. But then when our singer quit, I eventually switched over to just being the lead vocalist. And then from Compromise, we toured. And after the big crash that we got in with Compromise in the early 2000s, I joined Misery Signals.
For me, um, yeah, that's knowing about your music journey is actually like incredible because to me, I didn't listen to like these hardcore stuff. Like none of the music stuff was open to me until I was like what, maybe like 9, 10.
Right.
So I mean, I started pretty young, but I really didn't get into like, I guess punk rock or hardcore stuff until I was like in grade 7. And actually, you guys like were the one like the first band like that I got introduced to hardcore punk. So like being able to like actually face you here, it's actually like so it's awesome. It's like my younger self would be like be in fever dream right now, actually.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. So, and I guess the next question is gonna be yeah, so what sparked your passion for music? Like what encouraged you to like keep going until like today?
I think, I mean, like my folks were just so into music. So I grew up in a
Mm-hmm.
household where Iggy Pop and David Bowie were like,
Yeah.
that was like, those were like gods to me. So from a young age, to me, that was pretty much the best thing you could be was like some rock star, some musician. So, I mean, probably from the time I'm like 5 or 6 years old, that's all I wanted was just playing bands. Right. So that's
Wow.
kind of my driving force. That was sort of the goal that I had in mind from being a very, very young fella.
Yeah, so I guess my next question for you is yeah, so Mystery Signals have been known to like pioneer new wave of metalcore, hardcore music earlier in the 2000s. And since as an indigenous artist, how did it feel to be like recognized as a part of like an influential band like worldwide?
Um, I think like indigenous or not, like the just being
Hmm.
from a small Canadian city, that
Yeah.
was a challenge, right? I think you
Yes.
growing up in Calgary, you understand how far apart our cities are,
Hmm.
how cold it can be, how harsh the roads can be. So touring as a young musician in Canada can be a real struggle, and is a great challenge. So having success in the industry that I saw was very much based in the United States for the most part.
Hmm.
It's been a fulfilling, amazing thing because as a young person, I did not see a lot of bands from my area having a great amount of success. So um, just being from Canada and having success, I guess worldwide, doing this crazy thing that we do has been a dream come true for me. As I said, since I was a little kid, that's really all I wanted. So it's been an amazing thing. Being indigenous, it's I guess even more special in ways because we do not see a lot of people of color. I guess especially in the heavy metal world. So growing up,
Yes.
right, I
Yeah,
definitely saw
definitely.
a lot of white, long-haired dudes, you know, and especially mostly coming from America. So
Mhm.
um, I didn't see a lot of myself in a lot of the bands and a lot of the music that I listened to. But as I got older and I was exposed to certain artists, which I think we'll talk about in your next question, that
Mhm.
really did inspire me and show me that, yeah, you could come from Edmonton, you could be a kid of color. It's possible for some Métis kid from Edmonton to have success in music.
For the following question, so which artists, musicians that are people of color that inspired you through your journey?
Yeah. For me, I think early on it was SNFU. Chai Pig from
Mm.
SNFU is a person of color and just an interesting individual. And he was someone that I saw, especially being a young metalhead headbanger kid, like looking at the back of Garage Days by Metallica and seeing that James Hetfield was wearing an SNFU shirt. And this band was from my hometown. That really inspired me and showed me that, okay, yeah, you can kind of be from anywhere and be anyone, and if you push hard enough, you can have some success in this industry. So Chai Pig and SNFU was a big one for me early on, seeing him have success. I think the fellas in Testament, a
Mhm.
Bay Area. I'm in San Francisco right now, so it's cool, and
Yeah.
we can talk about Testament. Those guys obviously have some mixed heritage as well. So seeing
Mhm.
those guys, seeing their color, that inspired me as well. Right, they weren't just a bunch of white guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it did show me that, yeah, you could be a person of color. And as I got older and I got more exposed to hardcore, obviously people like HR from Bad Brains are inspirational in that way. 2 years ago we played with a band. There's a band from Edmonton called Exits, and those
Mm.
guys are a number of them are First Nation as well. So one time, maybe this is about 5 years ago now, they played for us and they brought out so many kids that were obviously First Nation kids, Métis kids.
Wow.
I remember looking down in the pit at the Starlight Room and just being so happy to see these kids just dancing away, and it was just such a proud moment for this Canadian Métis kid.
Questions for this interview. Um, how do you perceive the alternative and hardcore scene and its diverse members in around Alberta? Do you see it wide or less nowadays?
I think it's become a more accepting place because I think when I was a
Mm-hmm.
young person, as I said, most of the punk
Yeah.
rock bands that I saw, um, there was not a lot of people of color. There's a
Yes.
band called Process that I love a lot that were from Vancouver, but also had members that grew up in Edmonton, and those guys were. There was a number of them that were First Nation or Métis in that band, so that band was also sort of an inspirational group to me.
Oh, that's great. And yeah, I guess yeah, you're not wrong. We've been accepting as year pass by, but before then, I can definitely agree that, there's not a
Yeah,
lot yet,
it's
but
not perfect, but it is
it's
getting
not, yeah,
better. It is
it's
getting
getting
better,
better.
and like I
Yeah.
think we go to if you go to a show now in Edmonton or Calgary or something, you're going to see a,
Mhm.
a fairly wide range of people and
Yeah.
different come from different backgrounds and different heritages and such. So
Yeah.
I think it is growing. I think it is getting better.
Yeah, which I find actually pretty sweet. That's why, I've been trying to actually attend as much hardcore shows as I can. And it's such a happy, welcoming place to be at this point actually. So
Yes, it can be. That's
yeah,
great.
yeah.
That's what we want. And I mean,
Yes.
I think for the most part, hardcore is and punk rock in a lot of ways is should be a place of acceptance, right? Those rooms should
Yes.
be places of acceptance. Those should be places where people from different backgrounds can come together and celebrate music. And I think that with the social movements that are involved with punk rock and hardcore, it's natural that we have those places that are a little more accepting maybe than other places.
Of course. And um yeah, so I'm pretty sure you might probably have answered this question, but I will ask anyway, just in case. Um as a diverse person, like how difficult was it to find like a sense of belonging in the scene? Maybe way before
Yeah,
and yeah.
I think as I said, like it's gotten a lot better, but surely
Mhm.
early on, as a long-haired little headbanger Métis kid, when we first started
Yes.
touring in the United States, right, and it was just mostly a lot of white dudes with shaved heads and stuff. I didn't feel like I fit in. I felt like I fit in more in the metal scene, and it took some time, I guess, before I felt like I fit more, or I fit into the hardcore scene.
What kind of advice can you give to diverse musicians that wants to start and to join bands in the same scene as you?
I think just push, like just
Yeah,
don't give up, right? I think it's that
yeah,
that thing where you just have to keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. Um, Force your way in. I think that
yeah,
it's,
that makes sense.
don't wait for somebody to ask you to be involved in something that you want to be involved in, right?
Hmm.
Don't let social standards or old norms or anything like that hold you back. Just do what you want to do, follow your passion, do your art. And I think if you're true to your art and true to who you are as a person, that your art, your music will connect with people, and you'll find your
Yeah,
place.
yeah. I mean, I guess it's the reason why I really wanted to do this documentary and this interview with you, because I just I just want the and maybe like local or just the entire world to know that you can be anyone could join these hardcore punk alternative scenes that that we have today.
100%.
And
I think
yeah.
when I first started touring in America with these guys, right, it was
Mhm.
like I was exposed to some elements of punk rock and hardcore that we didn't really see so much in
Mhm.
Canada, especially where I was from the prairies, right? We started to
Yep.
see the vegan movement, vegetarian movement, straight edge movement.
Straight, straight, yep.
You started to see a lot of places that were, very vocal about being anti-racist, anti-sexist,
Mhm.
anti-fascist, right? And some of these words, some of these terms, I didn't really see or hear in the
Yeah,
metal
and
community as
yeah.
a young person in Alberta, right? But as I started touring in America, I was exposed to some of these different viewpoints, and it made me grow as a person. It was at first straight edge kind of freaked me out. At first veganism kind of freaked me out, being this
Mhm.
Canadian meat eating kid from the prairies. But
Yeah.
it made me grow as a person. It taught me so much, the hardcore scene, and I'm just so thankful for having found a place in it. And I think the more
Yeah.
stories that we tell, the more stories that we tell of people like you and I,
Hmm.
the more that we're going to get more and more people of color that are feeling accepted in this place. So, bravo
Yes.
to you, young lady. Thank you so much. I
Thank you
think this
so
is
much.
a
Thank you
very
so much.
a very cool topic to explore, and something that I'm
Mhm.
proud to be a part of.